Two British princesses are getting swept up in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. Beatrice and Eugenie are the daughters of former Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson.
History does not simply turn in quiet moments. It erupts in ways so sudden, so jarring, that it leaves everyone scrambling to process what just happened. There are moments in royal history that shift everything. Moments when the curtain is pulled back so violently and so completely that nothing behind it can ever remain hidden again, and nothing will ever feel the same. And right now, in February of 2026, we find ourselves at one of those very moments. It is more chaotic, more damaging, and far more emotionally wrenching than anything the British royal family has faced in recent decades. Two women, two princesses, two daughters who spent their lives doing everything right, studying, building careers, maintaining a public image, raising families with dignity, staying quiet and staying clean, have now been pulled into a storm that they never asked for and could not have predicted. Yet today, their names are splashed across federal documents, tabloid front pages, and international news broadcasts in a way that no royal upbringing or careful reputation management could have prepared them for. Beatrice and Eugenie, the York sisters, whose lives have long been defined by personal achievement and careful discretion, are now at the center of one of the most disturbing criminal scandals of the 21st century. The silence they have maintained for so long is no longer a protective choice, it is a necessity. Sources close to the sisters describe the revelations as shocking and deeply unsettling. By the time this story is fully understood, you will see why these two women have refrained from making public statements, what pressures have constrained them, and what those closest to them have been saying behind closed doors. Reports indicate that even Prince Andrew, their father, instructed them not to speak, heightening the complexity of their position and the scrutiny upon them. This is a story no one should scroll past lightly, because the details expose more than just scandal. They expose a family's inner struggle and the extraordinary lengths they went to in order to preserve their lives from complete chaos. Before we dive further, it is essential to understand who Beatrice and Eugenie truly are. They are not peripheral figures in this scandal. They are not incidental or background characters, and they are certainly not merely collateral damage. Their lives have been fundamentally, and perhaps permanently, altered by the decisions and choices of the very people who were supposed to protect them, their parents. Their experiences cannot be understood without appreciating the immense pressure of being born into royalty and then being drawn into circumstances entirely beyond their control. Princess Beatrice, the elder sister, has built a professional identity that is nothing short of remarkable. She founded her own strategic consultancy, BYEQ, and served as Vice President of Partnerships and Strategy at a technology software company. Beatrice did not coast on her royal title. She built her career from the ground up. Through long hours, strategic thinking, and disciplined effort, she carved a place for herself in the modern professional world, while simultaneously navigating the constant public gaze reserved for royals. She represents what a contemporary royal could be: relevant, professional, and quietly dignified, balancing public responsibility with personal achievement. Princess Eugenie chose a different but equally compelling path. She became a director at Hauser and Wirth, one of the world's most prestigious art galleries, a position that demands discernment, expertise, and influence. More profoundly, Eugenie co-founded the Anti-Slavery Collective, an organization dedicated to combating human trafficking and sexual exploitation. The cruel and almost unbearable irony of this fact cannot be overstated. One of the princesses now appearing in Jeffrey Epstein's federal files is a public advocate against sex trafficking. Her life's work is dedicated to helping the very victims whose suffering intersects so tragically with the scandal now enveloping her family. Both sisters married, started families, and maintained a public life largely free from scandal for many years. A rare feat in a royal household constantly scrutinized by the media. Observers, both within the palace and in public circles, noted that Beatrice and Eugenie represented a rare combination of personal integrity and public approval. They seemed to manage the impossible, remaining relevant in public life while avoiding the kinds of controversies that have plagued other royals for decades. Then December 2025 arrived, and everything changed. A fresh release of US Department of Justice documents concerning Jeffrey Epstein revealed truths that could no longer be ignored or sanitized. Unlike previous releases, this particular batch implicated not only Prince Andrew, but also the entire York family, extending the story far beyond what had been previously reported. Hundreds of references to Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew appeared in the documents, painting a picture of relationships that were far warmer, far deeper, and far more sustained than ever publicly acknowledged. The public was forced to confront the reality that the York family's private and public lives were intertwined with Epstein's in ways previously unimaginable. Beatrice and Eugenie appear directly in these documents dating back to July 27, 2009. At that time, Beatrice was 20 and Eugenie was 19. And they travelled with their mother, Sarah Ferguson, to Palm Beach to have lunch with Jeffrey Epstein. On its own, this might seem an innocuous social visit, but context transforms it into something deeply troubling. The lunch occurred just 5 days after Epstein's release from prison for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Even more disturbing, Epstein reportedly covered the flight costs for the family, amounting to approximately $14,800. The implications of traveling to meet a convicted sex offender with your children just days after his release are staggering and raise questions that still haunt royal commentators and legal experts today. The sisters were placed in an impossible situation. They were young, vulnerable adults, caught in circumstances beyond their comprehension, and yet their lives were forever altered by these encounters. What did they know? What were they told? And what lengths have been taken to ensure their silence? These are questions at the heart of the story, questions that reveal the extraordinary pressures faced by these women, pressures magnified by the unrelenting glare of the media and public scrutiny. The correspondence that followed added further layers of distress. A January 2010 email from Ferguson to Epstein was described as strikingly warm, full of personal familiarity, that far exceeded what would normally be expected of a professional acquaintance. Private details of the daughters' lives, including romantic relationships and personal circumstances, were casually shared with a man widely recognized as a predator. Mirror royal editor Russell Myers described the exchanges as deeply unsettling, not because of the sisters' actions, but because of the unconcerned intimacy with which their mother exposed them. By 2011, Ferguson had shared even more information, including advice from Beatrice on handling a particular journalist, which was then relayed to Epstein. In that same year, and again in 2012, Prince Andrew forwarded family Christmas cards to Epstein, cards including photographs of his daughters, directly contradicting his 2019 claim to the BBC that he had no contact with Epstein after 2010. These revelations depict an entire family caught in Epstein's orbit, trying to navigate normal life while extraordinary pressures and dangerous relationships surrounded them. Even the infamous 2019 BBC Newsnight interview, which ultimately ended Prince Andrew's public career, was not arranged without input from the York sisters. Beatrice reportedly played a role in organising the interview to create a controlled environment where her father could address allegations and attempt to manage the fallout. Sources suggest her goal was to protect him while also trying to shield the family from additional scandal. She acted with meticulous care, a mixture of loyalty and strategic thinking, in an effort to navigate a highly complex, emotional, and public crisis. To maintain composure under extreme public pressure, to maintain composure under extreme public scrutiny, managing personal trauma alongside familial obligations and intense media pressure. The emotional and mental toll cannot be overstated. The York sisters' story is one of endurance, resilience, and courage in the face of circumstances few could imagine, and their silence should not be misinterpreted as complicity. It is a testament to the impossible balance they were forced to maintain. Beatrice's role in orchestrating the BBC interview reflects the depth of her character. She acted to shield her father, attempting to provide him with an environment that might control narrative chaos and provide a semblance of clarity amidst public outrage. Her actions reveal loyalty, courage, and strategic acumen, navigating a maelstrom of public scrutiny with foresight and determination. She wanted to help him. She was trying to protect her father. Few could have anticipated how events would unfold, or the speed at which a single interview could change everything for an entire family. What followed was not a minor stumble or an easily recoverable misstep. It was an interview so damaging, so replete with evasions, contradictions, and statements that defied credibility, that it accelerated rather than arrested Andrew's fall from grace. The infamous inability to maintain the Pizza Express alibi became emblematic of a broader failure to confront public concerns, a moment that crystallized the perception of a man out of touch with reality. Within days, he was stripped of nearly all his royal duties, transforming from a senior and respected member of the royal family into a figure of ridicule, speculation, and mounting legal suspicion. International headlines reflected the speed and scale of his collapse, each news cycle adding to the weight of public scorn and deepening the scrutiny he faced. For Princess Beatrice, who had attempted to orchestrate what she hoped would be a controlled and dignified response to the scandal, the experience was nothing short of a masterclass in public failure. Watching her father's image and reputation crumble in real time taught her something visceral and irreversible. Cameras do not always save you, no matter the preparation. Attempting to control the narrative, no matter how carefully planned, can in fact destroy it. This painful lesson underscored a stark reality about public life. Appearances are fragile, and the media is unforgiving. Speaking too soon, especially when the full scope of documentation and evidence is unknown, is not bravery. It is a trap that can irreparably damage both perception and legacy. This lesson explains, in part, why both Beatrice and Eugenie have been so reluctant to come forward publicly despite growing pressure. Insiders have described the intensity of that pressure as almost unbearable, a constant tug-of-war between public expectation and private caution. The sisters have witnessed firsthand the consequences of unguarded statements, observing the immediate fallout when a family member faces a camera without complete control over context or emerging information. They understand the danger of misalignment between what is known privately and what may later be revealed publicly, and the resulting legal and reputational consequences. The questions the public continues to ask are unavoidable. Is their silence a choice, a strategic pause, or is it being imposed upon them by circumstance or influence? Offers extended to them shed light on the global significance of their story. According to sources cited by Women's Day, both sisters have received extraordinary proposals to publicly share their experiences, offers that range from high-profile magazine interviews to unprecedented media deals, including potential features with Oprah Winfrey and exclusive Netflix productions. These are opportunities that would tempt nearly anyone, given the scope, reach, and prestige involved. Yet, both sisters have consistently declined to participate publicly. No confirmation has been issued, no statements made, and no appearances granted. Sources close to them explain that any public disclosure would only be considered within a strictly trusted and controlled environment, a concept carrying immense weight considering the catastrophic consequences of Andrew's BBC interview. The sisters' caution is neither coyness nor strategic media gamesmanship. It is genuine fear of the legal, social, and personal consequences that could arise if statements are made prematurely. The risk that newly released documents might contradict what they say adds another layer of vulnerability, potentially undermining their credibility and exposing them to legal jeopardy. The stakes are high. These are federal documents, with ongoing investigations by the US Department of Justice, which means that any public statement could be used in ways beyond the sisters' ability to control. But according to sources close to the family, there is more at play than legal caution alone. There is an element of influence coming directly from Andrew himself, who reportedly communicated privately with his daughters about the risks of speaking publicly. Allegedly, he did not leave the matter to chance. He actively sought to ensure their silence, emphasizing that public statements could exacerbate his already precarious situation. It must be stressed that these remain allegations, not proven facts, yet they illustrate the gravity of the situation as understood within royal circles. The image painted is of a father fully aware of the scope of sensitive documents and strategically invested in ensuring that his daughter's words do not worsen his legal or public predicament. Andrew's position, as of February 2026, is unprecedented. Arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office, marking the first time a senior British royal has been taken into custody in nearly 3 centuries. The arrest was executed at Sandringham by Thames Valley Police with 6 unmarked vehicles and lasted approximately 11 hours, an extraordinary display of legal authority and public scrutiny that underscored the severity of the case. The investigation focuses on allegations that Andrew shared confidential UK government documents with Epstein during his tenure as a trade envoy from 2001 to 2011. He has denied wrongdoing, yet the arrest remains historical fact. For someone in his position, facing such high-stakes exposure, keeping those closest, who might have relevant knowledge, quiet becomes not just a matter of preference, but a strategic imperative. Sources have indicated that Andrew made clear to Beatrice and Eugenie that any public statement could directly harm not only him, but the remaining public credibility of the family unit, framing their silence as a measure of loyalty. Royal biographer Robert Jobson offered insight into the impact on familial relationships, telling People magazine that Beatrice and Eugenie feel duped by the narrative Andrew presented privately versus what documents now reveal publicly. Eugenie, in particular, struggles to reconcile her father's reassurances with the emerging public record, a tension that has informed her choices and fostered a sense of both personal betrayal and professional caution. The distinction between feeling duped and feeling threatened is critical. According to sources close to the sisters, both emotions have informed their decisions and their careful management of public exposure. The sisters' responses have diverged in revealing ways. Eugenie has been the first to quietly break ranks, maintaining visible distance and reportedly refraining from visiting her father for Christmas in January 2026. Her approach underscores a conflict between her public identity and family obligations, reflecting the impossible balance between private loyalty and professional integrity. She has devoted her career to fighting sexual exploitation, the very crimes connected to Epstein's history, making her father's continued unapologetic stance an ongoing contradiction to her values. Beatrice, conversely, initially attempted to maintain engagement. Photographs of her horseback riding with Andrew just weeks prior to his arrest, as well as her invitation to him for her younger daughter's christening, reflect a daughter still hoping to preserve family bonds and believe in the version of her father she had always known. Andrew's choice not to attend that gathering, however, became a quiet yet profound wound in an already strained relationship, emphasizing the emotional toll and the complex dynamics at play. Over time, Beatrice's patience and loyalty, longer and more forgiving than Eugenie's, have been tested to the limit, especially in light of evidence suggesting her father was not fully honest regarding his association with Epstein. These diverging responses highlight the unique pressures faced by each sister. 2 daughters, same father, same documents, yet their paths diverge based on personal values, professional obligations, and perceptions of loyalty. Both navigate a treacherous landscape where every choice carries legal, emotional, and public consequences. They must balance personal truth with strategic caution, knowing that even minor missteps could irreparably damage their reputations or complicate ongoing legal matters. Royal commentators have weighed in emphatically. Richard Palmer, speaking to the BBC, has advised that the sisters need to publicly distance themselves from their parents to prevent the growing scandal from compromising their own reputations. The longer they remain associated with unfolding events, the greater the risk that public perception will conflate their personal characters with their parents' actions. Fitzwilliams echoed this sentiment in The Telegraph, describing the York family unit as toxic and implicitly unsalvageable, asserting that no amount of traditional PR management could reverse the reputational damage. Ultimately, Beatrice and Eugenie face a stark reality. Silence may provide short-term protection, but the passage of time and accumulation of public evidence could erode their control over the narrative. Their father's scandal is no longer a peripheral story. It is intertwined with their public and professional identities, shaping perceptions and affecting every aspect of their personal and professional lives. Each decision carries weight, and every day that passes adds to the complexity of their choices. The urgency of the situation is undeniable, and the sisters' navigation of loyalty, caution, and public responsibility will define not only their individual legacies, but the perception of the York family for generations to come. The experts are saying the same thing from multiple angles, and it is becoming impossible to ignore. Silence, which may once have served as a shield, is no longer protective. In fact, it has morphed into its own kind of statement, one that carries implications the sisters themselves may not fully control. In the absence of Beatrice and Eugenie's voices, other narratives are filling the vacuum. Documents, journalists, anonymous sources, even rival family members are all contributing to a story that is increasingly being written without the sisters' consent. Every rumor, every leaked detail, every reported insight carries the risk of shaping public perception before the women themselves have a chance to explain or contextualize their experiences. The tell-all interview that has been repeatedly suggested, whether it takes the form of Oprah Winfrey's platform, an exclusive Netflix documentary, or something entirely different, represents perhaps the only remaining mechanism through which Beatrice and Eugenie can reclaim control of their own story. Yet it is a high-stakes endeavour. Doing it wrong, doing it too soon, or doing it without the full context could be catastrophic, not just for their reputations, but for the delicate legal and familial balance they are forced to navigate every single day. Each moment of consideration is a weighty decision, where words are measured not just against public reception, but against potential legal scrutiny, familial consequences, and the unpredictable unfolding of federal investigations. It is important to consider the broader implications here. Zooming out from the family, this is about the monarchy as an institution. Over the centuries, the British Crown has weathered crises of every shape and magnitude. Abdications, divorces, scandals, wars, and global tragedies. It has survived moments that might have toppled lesser institutions, sometimes adapting with remarkable flexibility, and other times surviving only by sheer inertia. But the York family situation in 2026 presents a test of a very different order. This is not merely a personal scandal. It is a direct challenge to the credibility of the monarchy itself. Questions are being asked about whether members of the royal family truly operate by a higher standard of conduct and whether the institution can continue to claim moral authority when evidence emerging from US federal investigations paints a far more complicated picture. Andrew, Duke of York, a man who represented the Crown as a trade envoy in more than 40 countries, has been arrested, a historical first for a senior British royal in centuries. His ex-wife appears repeatedly in documents that suggest a level of engagement and familiarity that goes far beyond what was publicly acknowledged, and the daughters, despite being innocent of any wrongdoing, find their names repeatedly referenced in federal files. King Charles has already taken decisive steps to distance Andrew from royal responsibilities, stripping him of duties and affiliations, and quietly marginalising him in the public eye. Beatrice and Eugenie, however, occupy a far more nuanced position. They continue to work, continue to maintain royal status, and remain connected to the crown by birth and public perception. The stakes are high. If they are perceived as being compromised by association, the monarchy risks losing two of its most respected younger members at a time when public faith in the institution is already fragile. According to palace insiders, discussions at the highest levels have focused on how to publicly support the sisters without creating additional complications, support that signals distinction from their parents, while avoiding overt condemnation that could inflame public opinion or legal narratives. Timing in all of this is crucial. The documents released so far are only the tip of the iceberg. Investigators and journalists continue to work through an ever-growing trove of material, and further releases are expected. Each new revelation has the potential to make what is already public appear restrained, and each could contradict, complicate, or contextualize previous narratives. Experts warn that speaking prematurely could render a carefully constructed statement obsolete or even legally risky. Yet waiting indefinitely carries its own dangers, because every day of silence allows the narrative to be written by someone else, by federal documents, anonymous sources, commentators, or former associates of Epstein. The sisters are caught in a situation where every option carries risk, and yet inaction is itself not without consequence. The arrest of Andrew in February 2026 adds urgency to every decision. On his 66th birthday, the legal machinery arrived in a highly theatrical manner. 6 unmarked vehicles, officers executing an arrest at Sandringham, holding a senior royal for nearly 11 hours. An arrested father is categorically different from a disgraced father, and the formal legal process that is now underway creates a structured timeline to which Beatrice and Eugenie will inevitably have to respond, whether they wish to or not. Court proceedings will generate more documents, more testimony, and more headlines, creating pressure that cannot be ignored. Beyond the legal and procedural implications, there is a profoundly human story here. Beatrice and Eugenie are daughters, human beings, who were thrust into situations no young adult should ever face. They were just 19 and 20 when they were taken to Palm Beach by their mother to meet Jeffrey Epstein shortly after his release from prison for crimes against children. They did not choose this. They did not orchestrate it. Available evidence indicates they did nothing wrong, yet their lives have been defined in large part by circumstances far beyond their control. Both sisters have spent their adult lives building meaningful lives and contributing to society. Eugenie's professional dedication to combating exploitation directly confronts the crimes that Epstein represented, while Beatrice attempted to mediate an impossible family situation and watched that attempt become a defining royal disaster. They are not villains. They are not co-conspirators. They are daughters trying to navigate a world shaped by the choices of others, while carrying immense personal, familial, and public pressure. The alleged pressure from Andrew, framing silence as an expression of familial loyalty, adds an additional layer of complexity. In essence, the sisters are trapped between competing obligations: loyalty to family, legal prudence, and public expectation. Every moment of consideration is an exercise in balance, a negotiation of consequences that could impact their lives and reputations for years to come. To a convicted sex offender are deeply troubling, and extraordinary media opportunities still unanswered. Each decision carries weight: legal risk, familial strain, public scrutiny, and professional integrity intersect in a perfect storm, making silence understandable but temporary. The question is no longer if Beatrice and Eugenie will speak. It is when and on what terms. Will they assert control over their own narrative, or will external events dictate the story for them? Every day that passes without their voice allows speculation to harden into assumed truth. Their story, when told, will provide clarity and balance that no outside commentary can replicate. As viewers and observers, it is essential to remember their humanity. These are not abstract figures in a royal scandal. They are individuals who have endured extraordinary challenges, navigating pressures that few could comprehend. They deserve compassion, understanding, and the space to share their perspectives when the time is right. This saga is far from over. Document releases will continue, pressure will mount, and the public will demand answers. Beatrice and Eugenie's voices remain central to understanding the full scope of events. When they speak, they will not only offer insight into their family, but also illuminate the extraordinary challenges faced by young women born into privilege, yet trapped by circumstances entirely beyond their control. So, if you've been following this story, stay close. Watch, listen, and stay informed. Subscribe to the channel to make sure you catch every development as it unfolds. Hit the notification bell so you'll be among the first to know when updates are posted, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Beatrice and Eugenie will speak on their own terms, or will the events unfolding around them force their hand? Your perspective matters because the conversation about this story is ongoing, and every voice adds to the collective understanding of an unfolding historical moment. The York family saga is among the most significant royal stories of this generation. Two daughters, innocent of wrongdoing, who built lives of purpose and integrity, are at the center of a storm not of their own making. When they finally speak, the world will finally hear their side, and we will be here to cover every word, every revelation, and every consequence. Until that time, watch closely, stay informed, and make sure you're part of the discussion, because this story is still being written and every new development matters.